Hello dear students. Today we are going to discuss a topic of biochemistry, that is carbohydrates. It is one of the important chapters in biochemistry. Carbohydrates, you are very much well aware of the term carbohydrates. From your childhood you are heard about the word carbs. We are using carbs in our daily routine life. The one of the macromolecule which we consume as a nutrition is a carb, and the main energy source of human body or animal body is the carbohydrates. So how we can define carbohydrates? We say that these are the aldehyde or ketone derivatives of polyhydroxyl alcohol. Aldehydes or ketone derivatives, aldehyde or ketone derivatives of polyhydroxy alcohols. So this is how we define carbohydrates. So carbohydrates is one of the macromolecule which we consume in our daily routine. If you consider your diet, the whole day of your diet, what the most consuming item in our diet is carbohydrates. And what carbohydrates do? Carbohydrates give us the maximum amount of energy which we utilize for normal metabolic functions. Now the different type of carbohydrates we consume. So first of all, how carbohydrates are digestion, how they are absorption and transportation. So this is the first topic which we are going to discuss: digestion, absorption and transportation of carbohydrates. So once we take carbohydrates, I just draw a rough picture. This is our digestive system. So this is a small intestine. My drawing is not that good, but maybe you can consider it. This is the large intestine. So here is the large intestine and this is the rectum end. So this is the buccal cavity. So when we take carbohydrates in our daily routine life, what will happen? In the buccal cavity, an enzyme present which we called it amylase. And this amylase we called it salivary amylase, because it is produced by the saliva, or it is present in the saliva. That's why we called it salivary amylase. This amylase, this is an enzyme for carbohydrate digestion. So in the buccal cavity, when we take carbohydrates, this amylase starts to digest carbohydrates in the buccal cavity. When we chew this the food which we take, the carbohydrates which take, this amylase starts degrading that the glycosidic bonds. So because as you know, the food is present in the buccal cavity for just a moment. So after this, the food comes from the esophagus into the stomach, and in the stomach there is no digestion of carbs, because this amylase is don't work in acidic medium, and in the stomach there is acidic medium. So there is no digestion in the stomach. From the stomach it goes into the small intestine. This is small intestine, and in small intestine pancreas releases, this is our pancreas releases another amylase which we called it pancreatic amylase. This is pancreatic amylase, because it is released by the pancreas. So this pancreatic amylase basically do the maximum of the digestion of carbohydrates into the small intestine. So the carbohydrates it's a large molecule, because mostly we consume polysaccharides, which is a long chain carbohydrates. So in the small intestine, this amylase breaks down all the glycosidic bonds and convert the macromolecule into a micromolecule, because a macromolecule cannot cross this small intestine wall and comes into the bloodstream. So this amylase breaks the macromolecule into micromolecule into small pieces, and these monosaccharides basically, either it is a glucose, galactose, mannose. So all these are the monosaccharides. They are basically, then they can cross the wall of the small intestine and come into the bloodstream. This is bloodstream. Once the macromolecules are absorbed from the small intestine into the bloodstream, in the bloodstream we have a transport system which we called it glucose transporters. We have different types of glucose transporters: GLUT1, GLUT2, 3, 4, different types of glucose transporters. G stands for glucose, and GLU stands for glucose, and T for transporter. So glucose, these are the small proteins. Basically the work of these proteins are they carry these monosaccharides to the cell. So this GLUT molecule, just like it is working as an engine, it just take a molecule of a carbohydrate and take it to the liver. It take it to the liver cells. In the liver cells, these carbohydrates or these molecules, like, because mostly the polysaccharides we consume, these are the homopolysaccharides, and most common unit is the glucose. We obtain glucose from these carbs. So this glucose is taken up by the GLUT and GLUT2, specifically, if you call it specific, because different types of GLUT. So GLUT2 is responsible to take glucose and take it to the liver. Now what will happen in the liver? In the liver GLUT drops the glucose molecules and take it to inside the cell and releases outside, and it recycles and recycles and recycles. Now after this, inside the cell, what will happen with that monosaccharide, we will discuss now.